Good evening, everyone. The breaking news this evening: by land and by air, Russian military forces are commencing what U.S. defense officials are calling the initial phase of a full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
The Pentagon says Russia has fired roughly 100 missiles targeting Ukraine's military infrastructure and highly populated residential areas. In response, President Biden has announced that the United States will impose what he describes as unprecedented sanctions against Russia. These include 4 of Russia's largest banks, in addition to the 2 financial institutions the U.S. sanctioned earlier this week. Biden also says the U.S. and its allies will impose new export controls, blocking Russia's high-tech imports and hampering the country's military and tech capabilities.
Putin's actions betray his sinister vision for the future of our world, one where nations take what they want by force. But it is a vision that the United States and freedom-loving nations everywhere will oppose with every tool of our considerable power. And Putin's aggression against Ukraine will end up costing Russia dearly, economically and strategically. We will make sure of that.
Biden adds he will not send American forces into Ukraine, though the U.S. has sent lethal aid. Ukrainian officials say they will fight to defend their homeland. We have team coverage on the community's reaction to all this. First, we start with Amel Elhel, who joins us now live from the Ukrainian Culture Center in Webster. Amel, you spoke with quite a few folks today who have family in Ukraine. What did they have to say?
Adam, most of the folks I spoke with today say that they're absolutely devastated by what their family overseas is telling them. And right now they're asking the community to just stop for a moment and listen. Explosions rock cities throughout Ukraine as Russian tanks make their way across the borders. A full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine has begun.
Who's going to hear the cry of those kids? Are we going to stop him? Is the United Nations going to stop him? Is NATO? NATO was designed to go ahead and solve problems like this, so what are we waiting for?
Roman Osipov was born in Ukraine, and much of his family is still there, many of them witnessing the violence and destruction onset by Russian invasion.
Something's got to stop, because, I mean, that innocent cry that you hear, I mean, it could be at our doorstep tomorrow. It could be in a European doorstep. It could be in France. It could be in anywhere.
Kostya Lukanyuk was in Rochester just a few weeks ago, graduating from the Eastman School of Music. But now he's back home in Ukraine, where he woke up to videos like this.
I've seen videos and photos that are like really close to where I am. Very, very close.
This photo was taken just 10 miles away from where Lukanyuk is right now. And like many in Ukraine, Lukanyuk is trying to find a way out.
I really do want to leave. I don't want to be here. I'm looking into a possibility for me to apply for some sort of asylum status in the U.S. Since I've already been there, you know, I have friends.
But he doesn't know if he'll be able to do even that, fearing an embassy may not exist very much longer.
It never should have happened. It never should happen to anybody's country. But unfortunately, it's happening to my country.
The Ukrainian Cultural Center here in Webster will be holding a meeting in just a little bit at 5:30 for anybody interested. They're also accepting donations to the Ukrainian Federal Credit Union if you would like to donate as well. For now, we're live in Webster. I'm on Help News 8.
Amel, thank you. On top of civilian and military casualties growing since Russia officially invaded Ukraine, the global economy has taken a major blow, and stocks and other trade thrown out of whack. Alex Love is live with us to explain how this impacts consumers right here in the Finger Lakes. Alex, what can you tell us?
The 2 main commodities out of Russia and Ukraine, Teresa, that are directly linked to our part of the world are natural gas, or oil, and agriculture crops imported and exported from Russia and Ukraine. Within a week, Dr. Amit Batabiel expects our gas stations to see the full burden of this war's impact on gas prices and oil, with 2 of the world's major resources cut off and redirected to supply the military, taken away from a market already in high demand. Even though the U.S. is not a major importer of crops and other agriculture raised in Russia or Ukraine, the ag industry is still a global market in this digital age, so any disturbance can create hikes in prices at the grocery store for the next few months.
These countries sell a lot of corn and wheat to the rest of the world. Now, even though we per se don't buy a whole lot of corn and wheat from Ukraine directly. Because of the integration of agricultural markets, you're going to see a general phenomenon of rising prices. When you add to that transporting these food commodities becomes more expensive because the transport typically requires oil, some of these additional expenses are going to be passed on to consumers.
As for the sanctions from the United States placed on Russia, Dr. Batabiel explained explained those are intended to take aim at Russians themselves from building up their military and not impact America's economy. Teresa?
Thank you, Alex. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was in Rochester today. She reacted to Russian President Vladimir Putin's aggression.
This invasion by Russia is extremely destabilizing for the region as well as the world. What Russia has done is unprovoked and is an outrage to the national security norm that we have expected in Europe. And we are trying to, again, lead the world community to stand firmly against Russia and aligned with the Ukrainian people.
We will continue to follow this situation closely for all the latest updates as well as the response from the Rochester community. Log on to our website, rochesterfirst.com.